PPI came in today. The stock market is slightly up, and the institutional buying for the end of last quarter has finally come in. Let's take a look at that information right now. So, US PPI came in 0.1% less than consensus at 0.2% month over month versus 0.3% expected, and annually it came in at 2.1% versus 2.2% expected, which is, as a forward-looking indicator, says that inflation on the CPI is likely to be lower going forward based on that ever so slightly. Let's see how the market reacted to that. It's pretty flat. We are up 0.09% on the day. This is the 15-minute chart right now. If we go to the daily chart, you can see 0.13% now. It's nothing. Doesn't really care about that. Some of our favorite miners, I think, are up a little bit, but that's not what we're looking at right now. Let me bring up the Webull app. So here I'm on the Webull app, and I am under the Institutions tab on this app. And the reason I'm here today is because the institutions have updated their buying for the end of Q1. You can see here, this date now says 3/31/2024. So this is the most updated information for what the institutions are buying. And this is for CleanSpark. So we're looking at CleanSpark right now, and look right here at the top, Blackrock. As of 3/31/2024, they have increased their position in CleanSpark over 50%. It's up 53.0311% up compared to the last time, their last buy, which I can't remember exactly when it was. It might have been in December, possibly January. But that is fantastic. We also got State Street increased their ownership of CleanSpark by 16.21%. Are there any others that are interesting in here? Blackrock UK, 31.53%. Nothing else is on here. So let's take a look at, let's say, Marathon. All right, Marathon. Blackrock decreased their ownership of Marathon as of March 31st, 2024 by 31.485%. That is dramatic. That is very dramatic. That is bad. BlackRock UK reduced their position in Marathon by 18.6682%. Now that is not a complete exit of the asset, and perhaps they exited in profit because March, if you remember, during March, there was that pretty big run up. They probably sold in the 30s. It's very possible that they made a good profit, and they might even be buying in again here in Q2 as these prices are severely depressed compared to the previous quarter. So that could be what's going on. They could be rinse and repeating on this stock. It's very possible. We will have to keep our eyes on this position specifically going into next month and in May to see if BlackRock re-increases their holdings of Marathon Digital. Now, I do find it interesting that compared to CleanSpark, Mara went down during this quarter, whereas CleanSpark went up, even though CleanSpark was significantly up as well during that quarter, just like Marathon was. So is that perhaps indicating that BlackRock has more confidence in CleanSpark as a stock over Marathon? Perhaps it doesn't mean anything at all. Well, time will tell, but this right here makes me very confident in my CleanSpark positions. Okay, let's take a look at this for Bitfarms now. Bitfarms actually lost 23.41% of their BlackRock investment and then 6.4% of their BlackRock UK investment. That's not fantastic for Bitfarms. I'm assuming that this could be a result of some of the issues they had with the CEO. Perhaps BlackRock, is aware of the situation going on in Paraguay, which isn't necessarily going to affect Bitfarms, but perhaps they want to take that risk off the table, something like that, because this miner has significant growth plans incoming. They seem to be a pretty sturdy miner, so I'm a little bit surprised by this with BlackRock, but they have significantly more information than I do, so they make their decisions based on the information that I'll likely never have. So that's all that's going on with that. Were there any other notable buys or sells? No, they're all sells for Bitfarms. It was all sells. Exchange Traded Concepts also sold out 31.85% of their holding of Bitfarms in the first quarter. So, yeah, well, just last month, honestly, just last month. I don't know who they are, but this isn't great for Bitfarms. It's not fantastic. Let's take a look at BitDigital. BitDigital also only has 3 actions on its March update for institutional buying and selling of its stock, and that is a negative 8.41% out of Blackrock, UK, and an 8.26% removal of the from the regular BlackRock advisors. Now that could be because for a short period of time, BlackRock was actually over 10% ownership in BitDigital. They may have reduced that in order to get under that 10% ownership level on BitDigital, because as I've mentioned before on the channel, there is more accounting requirements, or there are more accounting requirements when you own 10% or more of a company, and they were over that threshold there at least for a short period of time. And this small amount of selling might just be to get them back under that threshold. Because if you look down here, just a couple of months ago, okay, let's see, BlackRock Ireland increased 80% of their holding in BitDigital. BlackRock Institutional Trust Company increased 36% just a couple of months ago when prices were significantly higher. They were increasing in a big way on BitDigital. Is there any more in here that's really interesting that we can look at for theirs? I know that at one point a few months ago it was like up 1,000%, or it might have been 6 months ago. I don't know. But this is a minuscule reduction in their ownership of BitDigital, and I do have my suspicion that since it wasn't that 20-30% like on some of these others, that this was simply to rebalance their ownership of BitDigital, get them back under that 10% ownership level so that they don't need to do that extra reporting. Let's take a look at RIOT. What happened to RIOT? There were there was a decent amount of action on RIOT last month in terms of institutional buying and selling. BlackRock sold out 31.99% of their ownership in RIOT. That's very similar to Mara. That is not good. State Street, on the other hand, increased by 8.53% last month. At BlackRock UK, reduced their ownership in RIOT by 21.43%. Mercer Global, don't know what that is. Carson Wealth reduced 34%. Danske Bank, 0% movement. Versant Capital minus 45%, and then a couple of holders here. So that's really what doesn't look good for RIOT either. BlackRock is moving out of it in a big way. That's not a complete exit of their position, but 31% down is significant. And as you can see here, RIOT and Mara have been severely punished from their highs, the recent highs, and so they're just not doing super hot right now. Now let's go down to CIFR. I think this one's going to interest everyone. CIFR Mining. BlackRock increased their ownership, BlackRock Advisors and BlackRock UK, by over 100% last month. They doubled down. They more than doubled down on CIFR last month. This gets me very interested in CIFR going into the halving, because clearly BlackRock sees something I don't about CIFR, and perhaps I need to not be concerned about that massive holding company ownership by Bitfury on CIFR and look more into the stock. In fact, I think I'll be doing a video just about CIFR here, just based on the fact that BlackRock saw fit to double down last month on CIFR. So that's super, super interesting. The only other thing on here for last month was ProShare Advisors. They increased by 0.4869%, probably just rounding out their position on that. Let's take a look at HUT now. I'm going to go through a bunch of them. Let's take a look at HUT. HUT also got a big increase from BlackRock last month. They got increased by 67.4% by BlackRock UK, and BlackRock Fund Advisors increased their holdings of HUT by 71.79%. For some reason, at this point in the cycle, BlackRock really believes in CleanSpark, CIFR, and HUT right now. So that's quite interesting. Mercer Global doubled down on their position of HUT, showing that they really believe in this thing going up. And that's really all the notables from that. State Street. Oh, State Street. So I almost missed State Street. State Street Global Advisors Ireland. Okay, so it's just the Ireland branch of State Street. They also doubled down on HUT. So big institutions doubling down on their CIFR and their HUT. These two may warrant a second look here going into the halving. Let's take a look at HIVE. HIVE got an increase of 58.38% by BlackRock last month in March. Charles Schwab doubled down on their HIVE holdings in March. Charles Schwab does not get involved in a lot of these Bitcoin miners. I'm surprised to see them doubling down or really any action on their accounts here. I mean, I've seen them, Charles Schwab, in quite a lot of the miners before, but I haven't seen actions like that from them. So a doubling down right now. That's very interesting. BlackRock Advisors UK also increased by 57% their holdings in HIVE. So this also shows some interest. Now, this is very, very interesting. Very interesting that we're seeing this on HIVE as well. This is one that I've also overlooked quite a lot. And the big boys are getting interested in these smaller cap miners now, right before the halving, right before a lot of people are thinking that they could go under BlackRock, Charles Schwab, State Street. They're seeing something in these and they are investing heavily. So that may require that we have a second look at these ones that have gotten less attention in the last couple of months here. Let's take a look at Argo Blockchain. What has happened with Argo Blockchain? Investco increased last month in March of 2024 by 10.4%. I don't know what Blueprint Investment is. Geode Capital 0%. Simplex Trading 138%. Don't know who they are. Oh, that was back in December. Excuse me. Nothing really happened. Invesco was the only one that invested in Argo Blockchain last month. They increased by 10%. Ignore everything else I said. Unless you want to come down here to December 31st and see that Morgan Stanley increased by 1,600%. That's pretty exciting. But that was all the way back in December. Who knows? They could have even. No, they haven't sold. They're still holding. Never mind. IREN. What's going on with IREN? BlackRock and BlackRock Advisors has increased. The Advisors UK have increased their holdings of IREN in March 2024 by 42.15% and 41.95% respectively. They see something in IREN. They are excited about IREN, and that was the only update last month. BlackRock increased their positions by over 40% in IREN last month, and it's also one of the few green ones on my list today here, up 1%. Well, many others are slightly green, but not nearly as much as IREN. IREN's been doing very well lately. I may need to revise some of my opinions about their, particularly about their HODL strategy. Perhaps not. I don't think I'll be changing my rules, actually. I'm not going to do that. But if you are invested in IREN, congratulations. BlackRock's very interested in it, and it is one of the few that is up decently today. Let's take a look at any. This is Sphere 3D, very, very tiny little Bitcoin miner. What happened last month? Absolutely no updates. Okay, let's look at Wolf. TeraWulf. What happened last month with TeraWulf? It looks like just BlackRock made moves on TeraWulf. It's up here at the top. So in March 2024, BlackRock reduced their holdings of TeraWulf by 5.37 and 5.12% respectively. That's not too concerning. I think similar to Bit Digital, they may have just been rounding out their positions, reducing certain positions that have grown too much, or in companies that they own too much of the company. It's a pretty minuscule amount. It looks more like a rebalancing than anything else, like with Mara or Riot or Bitfarms, where they're like looking like they're trying to exit without completely shocking the stock. So let's take a look at BitDeer. What happened with BitDeer last month? BitDeer also got a decent bump by BlackRock. BlackRock was very active in March 2024 with the Bitcoin miners. They increased their holdings of BitDeer by 17.43% in the UK fund, and in the regular fund, 18.09%. Core Scientific, CORZ. Let's see what happened with this stock last month in terms of institutional investment. Whew. They got a lot of doubling down. I don't know who Geode Capital specifically. I should find out which one they are, because they are in pretty much all of these miners. But Geode increased their holdings of Core Scientific by 5x, 529% increase in March 2024 in Core Scientific. They really, really believe in this one. And that's the only name that I recognize on here. Tidal Investments, I don't know what that is, but they doubled down. Exchange Traded Concepts also doubled down last month on Core Scientific. So they're getting the institutions that are investing really believe in CORZ Scientific. So if you're holding on to that one, congratulations. You've got a couple of institutional investors that are on your side pushing up that stock potentially. And that's really that's all of them. That's all of them. That's the update right now. You can see that with the PPI numbers on the left side of my screen here, that the Bitcoin miners are getting a little bit of a bump today. Clean Spark at plus 0.83%, Bitfarms at plus 0.5%, BitDigital at plus 0.9%, Riot plus 0.05%. Now it's down. Samara plus 0.06%. I think IREN was leading the pack there with 0.97% up today. And that's really all the news today. BlackRock has been making lots of moves into a lot of our favorite miners and some that I have been overlooking that I will need to pay closer attention to going forward now, at least for the next couple of months, maybe for the summer cycle. CIFR and HUT could get a more premium spot on my list due to the new movements in BlackRock on their stock. So with that said, please like, comment, and subscribe and have a profitable day.